What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Ace, Donnie Williams. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis, that monster from Baltimore. Salute to everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cass Sports. How's the family today? It's Friday, time for the weekly profile. And remember, first Friday of every month now, we are doing an active boxer. Started last month with Canelo. This month, Gervonta Tank Davis. Did I say that monster from Baltimore? Knocking everything out. Lamar Roach getting ready to get his turn coming up. Okay. It's Friday. Got boxing coming up on the weekend. And the highlights of boxing history today. We finished going through all the weight classes for the top 10 of all time. Now we're going to go back to start at heavyweight and do the top 10 active fighters in each division. That's going to start Monday. Today, we're going to look at the top 10 women boxers of all time for the highlight of boxing history today. The top 10 women fighters of all time. So let's get into that, the highlights of boxing history. Okay, before we get to Tank, we're going to look at the top 10 female boxers of all time. Okay? For a little highlight of boxing history segment, 2 to 2:30, Monday through Friday. Now, the top 10 female boxers of all time are a subject of debate, but a consensus often includes Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Cecilia Brækhus, Layla Ali, Christy Martin, Holly Holm, and Ann Wolfe. Other notable names include Lucia Ridgker and Regina Hamage. So let's take a more detailed look at some of the top 10 contenders. Top 10 women. Then we're going to get into the active fighters starting Monday. But in between the top 10 all time and the top 10 active, we're going to look at the top 10 women today. Crush the Legend in the building. Crush the Legend, 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. If you're not down with Crush the Legend, I suggest you get down with him. Because until you do, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. That's just what it is. Crush the Legend. Legendary. Salute, Crush. Okay, let's talk about these top 10 women. Yeah, Lucia was a beast, Crush. She's in the top 10, too. Okay, Clarissa Shields. A two-time Olympic gold medalist and undisputed champion in multiple weight classes. Shields is considered by many to be one of the greatest women boxers ever. And she's the only boxer to be four-belt undisputed in 3 weight classes. Clarissa Shields. Katie Taylor. KT. An Olympic gold medalist and undisputed lightweight champion. Taylor is also highly regarded for her impact on the mainstream popularity of women's boxing, particularly in Europe. KT. Amanda Serrano. Got to have Amanda in there. Watch out, Manny. Manny got 8 weight classes. Amanda got 7. And Amanda is still active. That's why Manny got scared and came back, because Amanda getting close. Manny trying to get one more, try to put some rough space in between him and Amanda. Amanda right on his ASS. Might pass him because she's still active. Amanda Serrano, a 7-division world champion. Serrano is known for her aggressive fighting style and has the most knockouts among the top female boxers. Amanda got like 30-something knockouts. Might be 40. She's up there. Cecilia Brækhus, the first lady of boxing. This is the first female to be 4-belt undisputed, not the GOAT. Cecilia Brækhus was first. Okay, she was right behind B-Hop and Germaine Taylor. She was 3rd overall, in front of Bud, Monster, Usyk, all of them. First woman to be undisputed in the 4-belt era. Cecilia Brækhus, the first woman to hold all 4 major titles simultaneously in the welterweight division. Brækhus is known as the first lady of boxing. Layla Ali. Daughter of Muhammad Ali, Layla Ali also enjoyed a successful boxing career, holding multiple titles and winning fights by knockout. 24-0, 21 by knockout. Layla got like almost a 90% knockout ratio. Outstanding for women's boxing. The coal miner's daughter, Christy Martin. A pioneer in women's boxing, Martin was known for aggressive fighting style and often fought on the undercard of Iron Mike Tyson. Christy Martin put women's boxing on the map. Not the GOAT, not Layla Ali, Christy Martin. Okay, that's who put women's boxing on the map. The coal miner's daughter, right there on the left. Holly Holm, Just Holly on the right, throwing the punch there. A former boxing world champion and UFC champion, Holly Holm is unique for achieving success in both sports. Bad girl there, Holly Holm. Got to have Ann Wolf. You can't do no kind of women's top 10 and not have Ann Wolf on there. Have to put what Roger Mayweather said. Remember? You don't know shit about boxing. Got to have Ann Wolf on there. Known for her knockout power, Wolf is considered one of the hardest hitters in women's boxing history. Ann Wolf. Yeah, and this is the one Crush was talking about here. Lucia Richker. Got to have her in the top 10 too. That's Lucia on the right there with the cornrow. Sporting the cornrows. Lucia. It's the one Crush was talking about, yeah. A former kickboxer and boxer, Richker was known as the most dangerous woman in the world, okay? They had a near-perfect professional boxing record. Lucia Richker. Yes, sir. Bad girl. And finally, Regina Hamage. Regina on the left, the blonde. A European legend with a remarkable record and numerous title defenses, Hamage played a significant role in promoting women's boxing in Europe. Before KT, there was Regina Hamage. Okay, KT had played her part in women's boxing in Europe, but before KT, there was Regina Hamage. Okay, there you have it. Top 10 women of all time. What's up, Define Arnie 1? We get ready to look at that monster from Baltimore now, Gervonta Tank Davis. As you know, we started doing active boxes last month. The first Friday, always going to be active now. Started with Canelo this month, Gervonta Tank Davis. Did I say he was that monster from Baltimore? Okay, let's get into it. Here's Gervonta. Right there. What we got this weekend? As far as boxing, let's look at that real quick. Because I know next weekend is the big one. We got that's the Shakur and Zepeda and Berlanga is on that card. Berlanga actually, Shakur and Zepeda is actually the co-main, right? Let's take a quick look before we get into Tank. Anything tonight? They should have put a card on the 4th. Well, happy 4th of July to everybody. They should have put a card on the 4th of July, you know? Yeah. Maybe they did. Let's see. Quick look at the schedule, what we got this weekend. Because boxing is heating. Because just like the weather heating up, boxing is heating up, man. Tank and Lamont back in there. I think it's August 16th. I heard. Yeah. They haven't nailed it down yet or anything, but I think somebody said it's going to likely be August 16th. Tank and Lamont, the rematch. But today is, what's tomorrow? The 5th, right? We got one out of Manchester, England. Yeah, Jack Catterwall. Yeah, Define Irony did tell me that. Define Irony did tell me that. Jack Catterwall was back in there this weekend. Harlem Eubank, that's from Manchester, England. Joe Cordino on that card, yeah. This is Sky Nicholson, all right. That's worth watching it right there on the Zone too. I'm subscribed to the Zone. Okay, Sky Nicholson, yeah, she's one of the upcoming. She's gonna take over women's boxing when the GOAT, KT, Amanda, all of them get out the way. Yeah, Sky gonna be the next big thing in women's boxing for sure. Already a champion. Sky has the I thought she was a champion, but it doesn't have it on here, so. But she's at featherweight in Amanda's division, so she can't beat Amanda yet. But yeah, then we got another card tomorrow coming from Russia. Okay. Rudin Tukov. Yeah, I don't know any of these people. A lot of Russian and Eastern European fighters on. That is a big card. Wow. Yeah, then next weekend. We got one next week, actually Friday and Saturday. Oh, wow. And we speaking of women's boxing, KT and Amanda 3 is next Friday. I did not know that. A week from today. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, third fight. I did not. Oh, next weekend it is going to be big. Yeah, Chris was talking about that this morning. I did not know this fight was next weekend. That's going to be a huge weekend. And on that card, we have Alicia Baumgartner on there, Savannah Marshall, and Shadeja Green on that card. Chantel Cameron on, Jessica Camara. Ooh, that might be bigger than the men's card the next day. Ellie Scotney. That's next Friday. Dina Thorslund. Wow. We got all the women on there next Friday. And then, of course, Saturday, Belanga, Hamza Shiraz, Shakur, and Zapata, Subriel Matias and Albert Perello, David Morrell on the card. So, wow. But yeah, that one. But it's another card next Saturday from Texas, too. Stephanie Hahn versus Bexy Matias. But that might be the big one of the weekend, that women's card next Friday. And guess what? It's an all-women's card, too. All women. Wow. Man, listen to these. If you know women's boxing. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Shadeja Green, Savannah Marshall, Alicia Baumgartner, Jennifer Miranda, Chantel Cameron, Jessica Camara, Ellie Scotney, Yamaleef Mercado, Dina Thorslund. But let's get ready to get in the tank. But that's going to be a huge card next Friday. I did not even know that. Why didn't y'all tell me? Crush and Define Arnie one? Y'all didn't tell me. That is going to be huge. Donnie, y'all just say that. Forget that old man. He don't know nothing. Let him find out. Okay, but let's go with the life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis. Appreciate everybody that's in here so far. Got Define Arnie one, Crush the Legend, Donnie Williams, Ace, Miss Cass. Okay, the life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay. Let's take a look at that. And then at the end, kind of a little long one, we're going to have, I got a little piece on Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis too, his trainers. If we should have time, we're going to have a little talk about Calvin and Kenny at the end. And that Upton gym. You know, man, as big as a boxing fan as I am, I've been lived in Baltimore, right? And never been in Upton gym. Been past it a million times, have never been in there. Never, not once, been inside it, in there, in Upton. You know? Wow. That's crazy, ain't it? Yep, I've never been in Upton. Been past it a million times. Let me get in there one of these days, though, in the near future. Okay. Appreciate everybody for stopping through today, though. Let's start with the life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis. It's 20 after. Okay. Now, Gervonta Bryant Davis, born November 7th, 1994. Also known by his nickname, Tank, right? American professional boxer. Now, he has held the World Boxing Association WBA lightweight title since 2023. That's the title he currently holds, right? He previously had the regular version of the WBA from 2019 to 2023. He was elevated to the Super in 2023. Now, he also had the International Boxing Federation, IBF, Super Featherweight title in 2017. The WBA Super Featherweight title twice between 2018 and 2020, and the WBA Super Lightweight title in 2021. Okay, for Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, Tank has fought in 3 divisions, right? Super featherweight, 130, lightweight, 135, and junior welterweight, 140. Now he's 5'5" tall, has a reach of 67.5 inches. That's a longer reach than Rocky Marciano, only has 67. Rocky Marciano has the shortest reach in heavyweight of any heavyweight champion ever. Okay, and Tank fights in the southpaw stance. Currently has 31 fights in his pro career. He's won 30, lost none. Got that one draw against Roach in his last outing, but 28 by the knockout route for a knockout ratio of 90.3% for Tank. 90.3%. That's outstanding. Get up around at 90. Round 80 is good, but get up 90, that's outstanding. You know, not a lot of people get up there. And after 31 fights, still in the 90s, that's outstanding. Okay, let's look at Tank's early life. Early life for Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay. Now, Tank was raised in the Sandtown, Winchester community in West Baltimore. I used to live down there. It's rough down there. I was gone way before Tank came along. I knew his father too. Mm-hmm. And when I knew Tank's father, you know, Tank wasn't even born yet, right? And I found out that he was Tank's father. I was watching YouTube one time, and I think what's the guy named Ellie Setback was interviewing him, and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "This is Gervonta Tank." I'm like, "What? That's Tank's father?" Known him for years, man. Never even knew that. But I knew him. I've seen him recently, but you know, not really, not long. Just like speaking in passing, you know. But when we knew each other well, I didn't even know. Well, Tank wasn't even born yet then. This was way back in the early 90s. But yeah, I know him. But anyway, I don't know how did I go way off on that. Okay, let's get back to Tank's early life. Okay. Yeah, but I was shocked when Ellie was like, "This is Gervonta Tank Davis' father." I was like, "What? Him?" Yeah. Okay. But he was raised in the Sandtown, Winchester community in West Baltimore, one of the most crime-ridden areas of the entire city. They ain't never lied either. His parents were drug addicts and were frequently in and out of jail. Davis has one brother. Davis attended Digital Harbor High School, a local magnet school, but he dropped out to focus on his boxing career. But he did later earn his secondary degree through a GED program, okay? He did do that. Let's take a look at Tank's amateur career. Amateur career. Wow, them like 16 likes already. Yeah. Okay, amateur career for Tank. Now, Tank would train at Upton Boxing Center since he was 5 years old, right? Davis is trained by Calvin Ford, who was the inspiration for the character Dennis Cuddy Wise on the hit HBO television series The Wire. Tank won the 2012 National Golden Gloves Championship, 3 straight National Silver Gloves Championships from 2006 to 2008. He won 2 National Junior Olympics gold medals, 2 National Police Athletic League championships, and 2 ringside world championships. Very decorated amateur boxer. Tank finished his amateur career with a record of 206 wins, 15 losses, 221 total. Everybody loses in the amateur except Sugar Ray Robinson and Loma. Loma only lost once. Okay, let's jump to the pro career. Early pro career for Tank. Started out super featherweight, 130. Early career. Now, Tank made his debut at the age of 18 on February 22nd, 2013 against Desi Williams. And Desi had a pro record of 0 wins and 4 losses. And all his losses were by stoppage. and Tank continued their streak. And this fight took place at the DC Armory in Washington, D.C. on the undercard of an IBF junior welterweight fight between Lamont Peterson and Kendall Holt. I think Lamont ended up being on a Tank undercard later on. He did something. Tank started his career on the undercard of Lamont Peterson. I believe Lamont ended up on a Tank undercard later. Now, Tank won the fight by a first round knockout. Okay, this guy had coming into the fight was 0-4, all by knockout, and that streak continued. By August 2014, Tank had recorded 8 wins and no losses, with all of his wins coming by knockout at that time, inside the distance. Tank was taking the full distance for the first time in October 2014 against veteran 28-year-old Jermaine Miraz. And at that time, Miraz was 47 wins, 31 losses, 1 draw, 79 fights, 25 knockouts. Tank had 8 fights against this veteran, and the veteran took him the distance for the first time in his career. Now, Tank did knock Miraz down twice, in the 3rd round and the 5th round, and he went on to win a unanimous decision, with all 3 judges scoring the fight 60-52, a shutout. Nonetheless, Miraz became the first fighter to go the full distance against Tank, right? First one to go the distance. That was in his 9th fight. Okay? On February 20th, 2015, at the Consol Energy Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Tank became the first person to stop Israel Suarez, winning in devastating fashion with a first-round knockout. Suarez had 11 fights at that time, had never been stopped. Okay, Tank stopped him in the first round with a devastating knockout. On May 22nd, 2015, at the Claridge Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Tank scored a technical knockout against Alberto Mora, 1 minute, 14 seconds into the first round. Now, the normally durable Mora was stopped for the first time in his career, okay? So early, Tank was stopping people had never been stopped before, okay? Back-to-back fights. He stopped 2 fighters that had never been stopped in their careers. Big Dre, what's up, Big Dre? Hashtag JBT. It's just boxing talk. What's up, Big J? You're talking about Tank. Still early in it, Big Dre. Good to see you today. Big Dre, the spokesman for the JBT. That's boxing talk. And I met Big Dre in person. Salute, Big Dre. Okay, so back to Tank. On September 12, 2015, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, on Showtime, on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Andre Berto, Tank defeated Ricky Dulay in only 94 seconds. Okay? That's back-to-back-to-back first round stoppages. 94 seconds. That's 3 seconds more than Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson. 94 seconds. On October 30th, 2015, at the venue at UCF in Orlando, Florida, on Bounce TV, Tank defeated veteran 38-year-old former featherweight champion Cristobal Cruz. Okay, and Cruz had 62 fights at that time. I believe Tank, I don't know, he stopped him, I don't know what round it was, but he did stop him. To that point, he only had 1 man go the distance. That was all the way up to, but we'll get into it. But anyway, he stopped this guy, 62 fight veteran, okay? On December 18th, 2015, at the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas on Spike TV, Tank scored a 9th round knockout over Luis Sanchez. On April 1st, 2016, at the DC Armory on Spike TV, Tank defeated Guillermo Avila by knockout in the 6th round. So he's just destroying everybody. On June 3rd, 2016, at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, as part of a premier boxing champions card, Tank knocked out Mario Antonio Macias with his first punch of the fight. Okay? 41 seconds into the 1st round. First punch of the fight. So everybody's taking notice now. Like, who is this young guy that's destroying all these people? 41 seconds into the 1st round. Okay. So now let's talk about Tank versus Pedraza. Okay. That was his first big name. Well, big name. Remember? It's Pedraza. Davis versus Pedraza. This was on November 15th, 2016. On November 15th, 2016, ESPN announced that Tank Davis would challenge for the IBF Super Featherweight title against undefeated Jose Pedraza, 22-0, 12 knockouts. The fight was going to take place on January 14th, 2017 at the Barclays Center in New York, and it was going to be televised on Showtime. Now, the fight would take place as an undercard fight to the super middleweight world title unification fight between James DeGale and Badou Jack. Okay? Now, the IBF granted Pedraza an exemption to fight Davis as he had a mandatory fight against Liam Walsh looming. Now, prior to the fight being announced, Mayweather Promotions matchmakers tried to make a deal for Davis to fight title holder Jason Sosa. Now, in a very competitive fight, Davis defeated Pedraza in a 7th round knockout to win the IBF Super Featherweight title. First title, IBF Super Featherweight. After the fight, Tank said that he had studied the early career of his promoter and mentor, Floyd Mayweather Jr. in order to stay composed. Tank said, "I had a lot of experience from the amateur ranks, but I learned how to keep my composure. Floyd told me to stay calm, and I studied Floyd's videos when he was Pretty Boy. My uppercut was my best shot, and it was landing all night. It felt really good to fight the way I did. I could take it and dish it out." Now, Mayweather Jr. himself enthusiastically branded his protege as the future of boxing. For the fight, Tank earned $75,000 compared to Pedraza, who earned the largest sum of $225,000 in what was his 3rd defense of the title. That was Pedraza's 3rd defense of his title. At the time of the stoppage, Tank was ahead 59-55 on all 3 judges' scorecard. Yeah, he was winning the fight at the time of the stoppage. Just Do Boxing. What's up, Just Do? Okay. We got Just Do coming up at 4. Just Do was on a little earlier today, too. Just Do coming up at 4, right? Just Do Boxing. Get a bonus show today. Sandwich right around me, right in between. I'm warming you up for the 2nd act, okay? Salute, Just Do. Okay, Davis versus Walsh. Okay, I believe this is his first title defense of the IBF Super Featherweight 130. On May 7th, 2017, it was announced Tank would travel to London, England for his first title defense. The news came from Frank Warren, promoter of challenger Liam Walsh. And Walsh was 21-0 with 14 knockouts at the time. And he was ranked number 1 by the IBF, right? So Tank's starting right out. His first defense is against the number 1 contender. Okay? A lot of them don't do that. First defense against the number 16th ranked contender. But Tank's first defense was against the number 1 contender in the division, Liam Walsh. Now, the fight was scheduled to take place on May 20th, 2017, and it was billed as Show Me the Money. At the official weigh-in on May 19th, Tank showed up overweight and was given 2 hours to make weight. His first attempt, although he was naked, he weighed 2 ounces over. He was then given another 2 hours to attempt to lose the 2 ounces, although he came back earlier thinking he had lost it, but he was still over the limit. He eventually met the limit of 130 pounds on his third attempt, and then he stopwatched in the third round to retain his IBF title. After 2 cagey rounds, which were controlled by Tank, he came out with power punches at the start of the third round. Walsh's legs looked to give way, and Tank pounced with accurate hooks to the head, eventually dropping Walsh. Now, Walsh beat the count the first time, and the fight resumed. And Tank went back on the attack again, connecting with every shot he threw. Then referee Michael Alexander decided that was enough, and he stopped the fight, even though Walsh wanted to continue. And the time of the stoppage was 2 minutes and 11 seconds of the third round. Now, many people at ringside believed the stoppage was premature, including Walsh. Of course, he was going to think it was premature. He tried to win the title. Walsh said, "That was a bad stoppage. Now, Tank is very fast and very active, but the stoppage was too quick. He won fair and square. But in England, sometimes they stop the fight too early." The fight was shown live on Showtime in the United States, averaging 228,000 viewers and peaking at 253,000 viewers. Okay? Let me go to Davis versus Fonseca. Francisco Fonseca. Gervonta Davis versus Francisco Fonseca. The Boxing Menu Podcast Plus. What's up, bro? I'm seeing you in a minute. How are you today? Another fire channel. Everybody needs to subscribe. Everybody already. Everybody everybody subscribed to Just Do Boxing, of course. With all these great channels in here, Boxing Menu Podcast Plus, Just Do Boxing, Crush the Legend. Great channel. If you ain't subscribed, yeah, take care of that. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, Tank is now going up against, but salute the Boxing Menu Podcast Plus. Tank is going up against Francisco Fonseca. Okay, yeah, there they go right there. Now, according to TMZ Sports, in early July of 2017, it was reported that Tank would feature in the co-main event on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Conor McGregor on August 26, 2017 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. On July 29th, the Ring Magazine reported that Tank would likely defend his IBF title against former WBO champion Roman Martinez, whose last fight was a knockout loss to Vasyl Lomachenko in June 2016. On August 10th, Ring TV reported that Tank would instead fight unbeaten prospect Francisco Fonseca, 19-0, 13 knockouts. And at the time, Fonseca was ranked number 7 by the IBF. You know, that was the body whose title Tank had, IBF. Fonseca was ranked number 7. Now, according to some sources, the potential fight with Martinez was dropped due to it being short notice, and Martinez would not have had enough time to make the 130-pound limit. Prior to the fight being announced, the IBF had ordered Fonseca to fight their number 3 ranked contender, Billy Dib, in a final eliminator fight, as they were the 2 highest ranked available, and the winner would fight Tank, right? Now at the weigh-in, but I don't think Fonseca and Dib fought. Instead, Fonseca just got the fight. But at the weigh-in, Fonseca came in right at the 130-pound limit. Tank showed up an hour late and came in at 132 pounds, 2 pounds over the weight limit. And Tank declined to weigh in after 2 hours. Thus, he was stripped of the IBF title. And the title was declared vacant. But during the fight, it would still be up for grabs if Fonseca won, right? Tank couldn't win it. He was stripped. But if Fonseca won, he would be the champion. In what was billed as an easy fight for Tank, he won by knockout in the 8th round, with the ending being controversial. The final punch appeared to be an illegal punch to the back of the head to Fonseca, and referee Russell Mora counted them out 39 seconds into the round. After the fight, Tank mocked Fonseca. Now, Fonseca appeared hurt before the knockout blow, which Tank, who was being booed by the crowd, explained to Jim Gray after the fight. I actually caught him with a body shot before that, and he was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt. He was still on the way to being knocked out. Okay. And Tank said Fonseca took advantage. Fonseca was already hurt, so he took advantage of me, hit him in the back of his head, and went down because he was on the way down anyway, right? With the win, Davis scored his 10th straight knockout victory. Now, due to Davis winning the fight, the IBF title remained vacant because remember, Tank had got stripped because he came in 2 rounds overweight. So now the title was vacant. Okay. Now, for this fight, Tank earned a purse of $600,000 and Fonseca earned $35,000. Okay. Gervonta Davis versus Jesus Cuellar. Davis versus Cuellar. Okay. Let's take a look at that. And time permitting, at the end, we're going to talk about Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis in the Upton gym that Tank came out of. Okay. On November 15th, 2017, Leonard Ellerbe, CEO of Mayweather Promotions, announced that Davis would be making his in-ring return in the first quarter of 2018 alongside stablemate Badu Jack. Ellerbe also revealed that Davis would fight a high-level opponent. Now, according to Ellerbe, Davis would remain at super featherweight and likely challenge for a world title in 2018 because remember, in his last fight, he had been stripped of the IBF because he came in overweight. Okay. On January 24th, 2018, Showtime announced that Tank would next appear on television on the undercard of Adrian Broner versus Vargas. Broner versus Vargas on April 21st at the Barclays Center in New York. A day later, Leonard Ellerbe stated a deal was close to being reached for Tank to fight former world champion and IBF number 3, Billy Dibb, who was supposed to remember Billy Dibb was supposed to fight Fonseca in a title eliminator to fight Tank when Fonseca fought him, but they didn't have the title eliminator. They just awarded Fonseca the fight. So now they're saying Billy Dibb might get the fight. He's still ranked number 3. And this would be an eliminator for the IBF title, which was vacant at the time, right? Now, purse bid, which was due to take place on January 25th, was postponed to February 6th. On February 21st, it was reported by ESPN that the fight would not happen between Davis and Tank Davis and Billy Dibb. Instead, it was stated that Tank's likely opponent would be Jesus Cuellar, which it ended up being. On March 5th, the fight was finalized for the vacant WBA super featherweight title. Okay? So they fought for the vacant WBA. IBF was also vacant at super featherweight at the time. Now, Cuellar was moving up from featherweight for the fight. He was coming off a loss and 2 years of inactivity. Now, prior to the fight, Alberto Machado the WBA super champion at the same weight class, was inexplicably downgraded to regular champion. And the Davis-Cuellar fight was upgraded to be for Machado's WBA super featherweight title. Wow. They just downgraded this guy and made the title vacant, available for the winner between Tank and Cuellar, Machado. Okay. So in front of 13,964 fans, Davis knocked out Cuellar in round 3. Davis first knocked Cuellar down in the second round, courtesy of a left hook to the body. And then he put him down twice in the third round to get the stoppage. Referee Benji Estevez Jr. stopped the action at 2 minutes, 45 seconds into the third round. Tank landed 49% of his power shots in the fight. That's outstanding. 49% of his power shots, right around 50. Okay? Both fighters earned $350,000 apiece. After the fight, Tank stated he wanted to unify with the winner of Tevin Farmer versus Billy Dibb, which would be contested for the IBF belt, the same belt Davis was stripped of. He never did fight Billy Dibb, though. Billy Dibb and Tank's name came up a lot back then, but they never did fight, right? Now, the fight opened Showtime's broadcast and averaged 460,000 viewers. That was him in 1 second. Averaged 460,000 viewers and peaked at 527,000 viewers. Okay. Tank Davis versus Hugo Ruiz. Davis versus Ruiz. Okay. Everybody hit the like, please. Not subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you. Tank Davis versus Hugo Ruiz. Okay. In November of 2018, Tank announced that he would defend his WBA title in February 2019 against former champion Abner Maris in Southern California. Now, the fight was first teased by Mayweather by social media in August 2018, with no mention of a date or venue. And in this fight, Maris would be moving up from featherweight, having lost his last fight in June 2018 to Leo Santa Cruz. Now, when the fight between Davis and Maris was announced, there was a lot of talk of Maris being thrown to the wolves, that he had no real chance against Davis. Maris hit back at the critics, explaining it was his decision to move up in weight and test himself. On December 14th, the fight was confirmed to take place on February 9th, 2019 at Pechanga Arena in San Diego, California on Showtime. A week later, the venue was changed to Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California, formerly known as the StubHub Center. Now, Maris and Davis ultimately did not fight on the scheduled date after Maris suffered a potential career-ending injury, a detached retina, during sparring. Yep, the fight was canceled. Instead, Tank faced challenger Hugo Ruiz. And Ruiz had to move up from super bantamweight to super featherweight for the fight. He came all the way from 122 to 130, came up 2 classes, right? Tank knocked Ruiz out in the first round after breaking the challenger's nose. Yeah, Ruiz came too far. He came up 2 weight classes, man. Yeah. Now I was at this next one versus Ricardo Nunez. Yeah. On July 27th, 2009, see, he got the Orioles colors on. He was at the Baltimore Arena. Okay. Yeah. 2019. Mm-hmm. On July 27th, 2019, Tank made the second defense of his WBA super featherweight title when he beat Ricardo Nunez by a second-round technical knockout in front of a crowd of 12,000 fans in his home city of Baltimore, Maryland. Tank took his time filling out his opponent in the fight in the first round. In the second round, after receiving a couple of punches from Nunes, Tank went into attack mode and connected multiple times on Nunes, which prompted the referee to jump in and stop the fight. Yeah, man, in the second damn round. That was too fast. Should have let it continue. Told you I was in there. And he gonna jump in the second round and stop the fight. I was waiting outside for that referee. No, I'm just kidding. But he jumped in and stopped it in the second round, right? And this win marked the first time a native of Baltimore had returned to the city to defend the world title since featherweight champion Harry Jeffra defeated Spider Armstrong in 1940. I was at that one too. Just kidding. I was not at the one in 1940. Okay. Tank Davis versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yeah, he stopped the fight in the second round. That was crazy. People just getting in their seats and stuff. But that's a Tank fight, you know. But Davis versus Gamboa. On December 28, 2019, Davis fought for the vacant WBA lightweight title against veteran 38-year-old former featherweight title holder Yuriorkis Gamboa. In a competitive fight, Tank won the fight by a 12th round technical knockout. Gamboa came into the fight with an Achilles tear and completely tore it in the second round. But somehow he was able to last all the way to the 12th and final round. Yep, towards Achilles and came into it with an Achilles tear and completely tore it in the second and went the whole distance. Yep. Now, Tank had dropped Gamboa in the second round, and 8th round, and in the 12th and final round. Then referee Jack Reese stopped the fight, even though Gamboa wanted to continue. Right? Now, according to CompuBox punch stats, Tank had landed 120 of 321 punches for 37%. Gamboa landed 78 of 617 for 13%. Okay? Yeah. So this fight was at lightweight, right? So then Tank went back down to super featherweight for Leo Santa Cruz 130. This fight was weird because the Santa Cruz had a title at 130, Tank had the 135, and both titles was on the line. So let's talk about that. Return to super featherweight. Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. It is him and Leo. That's when Leo is getting ready to go to sleep, go nighty-night. Laying up against that hard ring post. I wish somebody would have gave Leo a pillow. And Leo was smiling though. When he was laying down there asleep, he was actually smiling. But Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. Now this was his pay-per-view debut for Tank. October 31st, 2020, on Halloween, on Showtime, making his pay-per-view debut. Tank moved back down to super featherweight and recaptured his vacated WBA title against Leo Santa Cruz, who had picked it up in a vacant title fight. Now the fight took place at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Now early in the fight, Tank was knocked down by Santa Cruz, but it was not ruled a knockdown, okay? In round 6, Tank caught Santa Cruz with a sharp left uppercut, and the Mexican immediately fell to the canvas. And I remember the commentators was just ranting and raving about how good Leo was doing. And Tank is in the fight of his life. Woo-hoo-hoo. Leo is really taking it to, and then cloop. They say Leo was laying on the mat asleep. And then it was like crickets over there where the announcers was at. The referee stopped the fight. Referee stopped it. The man was out cold sleep. What did you mean the referee stopped it? But the referee stopped the fight, and Tank retained his lightweight title, while also recapturing the WBA super featherweight title. Like I was saying, Leo super featherweight 130 title was on the line, and Tank's 135 title was on the line. Yep. We got the 135 and 130 title that he had that he vacated when he went to 135. At the time of the stoppage, Tank was leading on all three judges' scorecards by the identical margin, 48-47. It was a good fight up to that point. Leo was doing his thing, but he got caught. That uppercut was hitting him all fight, though. I knew that from like the second round that uppercut was going to eventually put Leo out. You could see it. Over the course of just under 6 rounds, Tank had been outlanded and outthrown by his opponent despite being the more accurate boxer. He landed 84 of 227 punches thrown, 37%, while Leo landed 97 of 390 thrown, which is 25%. Now, Tank's knockout of Leo was selected as the winner of the Ring Magazine Knockout of the Year Award for 2020. What else would it have been? That year, that was the knockout, definitely the knockout of the year, maybe the knockout of the decade. That was in 2020. So yeah, up to this point, I would say that's it for 2020. Yeah. But anyway, that's when he moved up to super lightweight and took on Mario Barrios. Remember that one? Yeah. Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios. Yeah, Boxing Menu Podcast. That was knockout of the year. Yeah, he did. The Boxing Menu Podcast, that same shot. And you could tell from like the second round that he was going to get Leo with it because it was landing. And finally, that last, what was it, the sixth? They got him flush. Look right there, right up under that chin. And Leo didn't have nowhere to go but to sleep. See, look at that. From Tank, he just got him. And Leo is asleep already. See? Asleep already. Dreaming, probably. But you're 100% correct, Boxing Menu Podcast. He was landing that shot all night. But then he went up to 140 and took on Mario Barrios. In the second fight headlining a Showtime pay-per-view, because Leo was his pay-per-view debut, remember? So then in the second pay-per-view fight, he moved up to the super lightweight division for the first time in his career to face WBA champion Mario Barrios. This was on June 26, 2021 at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Now on the night, Tank prevailed in a competitive fight, knocking Barrios down twice in the 8th and again in the 11th round. Even though Barrios wanted to continue the fight, referee Thomas Taylor decided to wait the fight off, handing Tank the TKO win. And that's the best referee out there, Thomas Taylor. Right now, currently, yeah. I would go so far as to say one of the best ever. Thomas Taylor never been in any kind of controversy, anything. Just get out there and get his job done, stays out the way, breaks when it needs to be broken. Let them fight the way out when they need to fight. That's a great referee, Thomas Taylor. I would say he's the best one out there right now, in my opinion. Thomas Taylor, yeah. Okay. Now, when the fight was stopped, Tank was leading on all three scorecards, 97-91 and 96-92 twice. And all these people claiming that he was losing. He was leading by 5 points on one scorecard and 4 on the other. That's just hate. People that wanted him to be losing. So many people, Tank was getting beat by Barrios. He lucky he got that stop. He basically had the fight won. He was leading by 5. Basically, Barrios needed a knockout to win the fight. 97-91, 96-92. On 2 cards, okay? When Thomas Taylor stopped it in the 11th round. So after 10 rounds, if you're leading by 5 on 1 and 4 on 2, you basically got the fight won. Barrios needed a lot of knockdowns in the last 2 rounds to win that one. But so many people claim Tank was losing. Crazy. Now, according to CompuBox Punch Stats, Tank landed 96 of 296 total punches, 32%, while Burrios connected on 93 of 394 for 24%. Now, sometime after the fight, Burrios revealed that the fight included a 10-pound rehydration clause. Well, you signed the contract, Burrios. So what are we doing? It's too late to talk about a rehydration clause sometime after the fight. You shouldn't have signed the contract. But you wanted that Tank payday. Don't complain now. You just got your ass whipped, right? It's crazy when they want to complain after the fight, but don't they have to sign the contract before the gun put to their head? So, we ain't worrying about no rehydration clause. You expect this little 5'5" guy to get in there with your big ass weighing about 180. No, you can't go no farther than 140 150 burial. With the rehydration clause. And he said was 10 pounds. Because that's what he surely would have done. Burrios would have been about 180, fighting that damn near light heavyweight if it wasn't a rehydration clause. So what are we doing? You want to fight for the junior welterweight title as the light heavyweight? No, we're not doing that. That's dangerous. It's already a dangerous sport. It should be permanent rehydration clauses. Burrios was planning on weight bullying, but it was Tank, and he seen that payday, so he signed that contract. Then after the fight, he was going to complain about a rehydration clause. But anyway, next fight, Pitbull Cruz. Oh, iron-headed Pitbull Cruz. Oh man, bear with me for a minute. I done got off track running my mouth. Yeah. All I gotta do is find Leo. I'm way back at the beginning, man. It is Leo right there. Start from Leo. Oh. Bear with me. I don't know what happened. There's Leo. Okay, Barrios was next. Right? And then iron-headed Pitbull. I don't know who that is. That was Barrios. There's him and Pitbull right there. Davis versus Cruz. Okay. On October 6th, 2021, Tank announced they would be facing his mandatory challenger, Rolando Romero, on December 5th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles on Showtime pay-per-view. But remember, Rolly was pulled from the fight due to sexual assault allegations made against him and was subsequently replaced with Pitbull. And I think Rolly beat those charges, didn't he? Remember? Because he eventually got the Tank fight. Now, Pitbull was brought in at 2 weeks' notice. On the night, Tank went the full distance for only the second time in his career. In a very close and competitive fight, Tank won by unanimous decision with the judges' scorecards reading 115-113 twice and 116-112, all in Tank's favor. Nevertheless, Pitbull was only the second fighter ever to go the distance with Tank after Jermaine Mraz way back in his 9th fight, remember? Yeah. Then we got Tank versus Rolly. For those charges, nothing came of them. I think women make those charges and nothing comes of them. The woman should be charged with something, false report or something. That would slow it down. You can go out here and ruin a man's life. Just make up some shit. And then the man gets found innocent and the woman just walk on away. Oh, I'm gonna try him next time. Try this one over here next time. He got a lot of money. He might settle. That's all it's about, trying to get somebody to settle out of court. You know they're not guilty, but think they're just gonna pay off to avoid the attention. Okay. The women should be charged with something. You shouldn't just be able to do that, make these bogus charges. Now, all of them are not bogus, don't get me wrong. But the ones that are, it happens so much that the woman should be charged for something, man. You just can't go and keep going around picking out people, making allegations, and you know they're not true, and then just walk away scot-free. But let's get back to Tank versus Rolly. Gervonta Davis versus Rolly Romero. Once Rolly revealed on his Instagram page in January 2022 that no charges against him were filed, as the claims of sexual abuse could not be substantiated. The WBA once again ordered Tank to make his WBA title defense against Rolly and gave the pair until February 24th to come to terms. The pair agreed to fight each other on May 28th in the main event of a Showtime pay-per-view at the Barclays Center in New York City. In a very competitive fight, Rolly was finding success in the first 5 rounds, but it's a 12-round fight. But in the 6th round, Tank scored a knockdown. And Rolly managed to get up from the knockdown and wanted to continue. But the referee decided to wave the fight off, handing Rolly a TKO loss. Wasn't that Harvey Doc? Yeah. And Tank said Rolly was a dumbass fighter. He's going to stand there and throw 2 straight right hands in the Tank's side with his right side wide open, right? Remember that? Back-to-back right hands into the Tank's side with the right side wide open and got knocked out. That was a dumbass move. I'm not saying he's a dumbass fighter. Tank said that, but that was a dumbass move he made, you know? This is Tank Davis. How you going to stand there and throw 2 back-to-back right hands down low to the body and the right side of your face wide open? That's what happened. See what happened. But anyway, next was Tank versus Hector Garcia. This was when the Garcia brothers, remember? Hector was first. Remember, on the stool, I can't see nothing. Hit that man so hard the man went blind. That was crazy. Anyway, on January 7th, 2023, Tank faced Hector Garcia on Showtime pay-per-view at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. in his first fight since splitting from longtime promoter Floyd Mayweather Jr., right? First fight post-Floyd. Now, Hector had to move up the lightweight for the fight. Remember, Hector was a champion at 130 at that time. He retained his belt. He went back down, remember, lost to Lamont Roach. Now, the fight was a closely contested affair until Tank landed a flush straight left early in the 8th round. And right after that, a fight broke out in the audience, right? With 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the 8th round, causing the fight to be temporarily stopped. Who was it? It was the Meek Mill and man. You know, the fight family from DC. Damn. The champion at 140. Gary Antoine. Gary Jr. They was involved in the melee at ringside, remember? So then, but the fight was resumed. You know, when the action was resumed, Tank found success again with his left hand, visibly hurting Hector. And Hector was disoriented after retreating to his stool in his corner, complaining about his vision, right? And Hector didn't come out. The fight was stopped, with Tank winning by 8th round corner retirement. So then we had another catchweight, the other Garcia brother, King Ryan, right? King Ryan. Tank Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Now, this was on February 24th, 2023. Well, on February 24th, 2023, it was announced that Tank would face Ryan Garcia in a catchweight fight on April 22nd in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the haters went crazy. A catchweight? What is he doing, a catchweight? This is Tank. Why are you doing catchweight? They was going crazy. Catchweight's been going on for who knows how long, but when Tank did it, men was damn near like having babies and stuff, man. Grown-ass men was having babies. Catchweight, Tank? Oh no. Hey man, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. Even Oscar, many catchweights that he put on people. Even Oscar was running his mouth. Shameful, man. Oscar, the catchweight, one of the catchweight kings. Okay. Now, on February, he fought Ryan at a catchweight on April 22nd in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, the long-awaited fight would be a joint pay-per-view event between Showtime and DAZN. Showtime Tank DAZN Ryan. Now, the fight included a 10-pound rehydration clause that grown men had babies over. Tank defeated Ryan by knockout in the 7th round after a body punch resulted in Ryan failing to beat the count. Ryan waited for the referee to finish the count and then made a business decision and didn't get up. He looked over there and saw Tank over there, and Ryan said, "Nah, my side hurting. It's just going to get worse. This is not going good for me." So Ryan made a business decision. He was already getting a big paycheck. He had already earned that. This was what, like the 6th round? So I don't blame him. But the media started labeling Ryan as a quitter. Now, earlier in the fight, Tank had knocked Ryan down with a heavy left punch in round 2 after Ryan had started the round in an aggressive manner. But he kept throwing that left hook too much. Now, Tank was comfortably ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards at this time of stoppage, 59-55 on 2 cards and 58-56 on the 3rd card at the time of the stoppage. Okay. Now, that was a catchweight, so he kept fighting at lightweight after that. Okay. Yeah, returned to lightweight. Never left it. That was just a catchweight where grown men had babies over. Tight catchweight? Oh no. But they want this 5'5" guy, little guy, and Ryan was gonna blow up to like super middleweight status, which wasn't a catchweight. So you want to fight at super middleweight? Move your ass up to super middleweight. No, we putting a catchweight on you. That's what you're supposed to do, man, to make things fair. Catchweights are to stop these weight bullies from weight bullying. That's what they was formed for, and they work. Okay. Now he went back to lightweight. Okay. Well, he never left lightweight, but from the catchweights back at 135. Okay. On November 29th, 2023, WBA lightweight champion Devin Haney relinquished his title to move up to the super lightweight division to face WBC champion Regis Prograis. Now, with Haney vacating his status as WBA lightweight champion, Davis was elevated to the primary WBA lightweight champion status. Okay, that's the title he holds right now, today. So then after that, it was Frank Martin's turn to get knocked out. Yeah, I'm biased. Okay, it was Frank Martin's turn to get knocked out. Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. Now, Tank defended his WBA lightweight title against Frank Martin on June 15th, 2024 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Right? Both fighters were coming in to fight after a year layoff. Neither one had fought in a year's time. Now, nonetheless, Tank won the fight and retained his title by 8th round knockout. Okay? Then we got to the Roach situation. Yeah, and all the haters love this. But just wait. Roach got his knockout coming. It's coming. Guarantee you. Put your money on a knockout next time. Okay. Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. Tank was scheduled to defend his WBA lightweight title against Lamont Roach Jr. at Toyota Center in Houston, Texas on December 14th, 2024. In October 2024, it was reported that the fight was postponed. On November 13th, 2024, it was reported that the fight was targeted for March 1st, 2025. On November 29th, 2024, the fight between Tank and Roach was confirmed to take place at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York on March 1st, 2025. at which time the JBT had their meet and greet. Now, let me continue with the fight here. Now, Tank would retain his WBA lightweight title in a majority draw. 115, 113 for Tank, 114, 114, 114, 114 on the other two cards. That was the first draw of his pro career. Now, the decision was met with significant controversy, particularly due to a moment in the ninth round in which Tank suddenly took a knee following a quick jab from Roach. Tank then walked to his corner, motioned toward his left eye, and was wiped with a towel. Referee Steve Willis incorrectly did not call it a knockdown against Tank. Had the knockdown been correctly called, Roach would have won by unanimous decision and resulted in the first loss of Davis's career. Okay? If is a very crooked word. If your grandmother wasn't your grandmother, she'd be your grandfather, whatever. If, but it didn't happen. So it was a draw. Nevertheless, Roach was only the third fighter to go the distance with Tank after Jermaine Merez in his ninth fight, remember, way back then, and Pitbull. Only three ever went the distance. Now, in the post-fight interview, Tank stated, I just got my hair done. I just got my hair done 2 days ago, and she put grease in it. When you're sweating and things like that, the grease came into my face and burnt my eyes. Okay. Tank then later expressed interest in a rematch with Roach. On March 4th, 2025, it was reported that Roach's camp filed an appeal to the New York State Athletic Commission to overturn the draw. 3 days later, the New York State Athletic Commission stated that although Roach should have been credited with a knockdown against Tank, they opted not to overturn the result, claiming that the referee's call was not outcome determinative. According to Dan Raphael, the pay-per-view generated around 262,000 buys, grossing $21 million in revenue. Now, the attendance was reported to be a record 19,250 for the Barclays Center. Yeah, I was in New York that weekend, but I didn't attend the fight, but I was up there. Now, it was later reported the event sold 16,420 tickets with 766 comps, generating a $6.4 million gate. The attendance was 2,064 lower than what was originally announced by the PBC. Okay, so now we're going to get Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach 2. Let's talk about that. We are going to get a 2. Okay, we are going to get a 2. I think it's August 16th. I think it haven't been signed or anything, but that's what I've been hearing. You find only one say one of the greatest uppercut knockouts I've ever seen. Must be talking about Leo Santa Cruz, right? You find only one? Okay. Yeah, let's talk about Davis versus Roach 2 in that situation. Now, on April 3rd of this year, ESPN reported a rematch was being planned for June 21st between Tank and Lamont Roach, with T-Mobile Arena being a potential venue. The sources claimed the fight would instead take place at the end of summer, which is, I think, is the date now. I've been here on August 16th. Now, in May 2025, Brunch Boxing's Matthew Bellini Brown revealed the fight would take place on August 16th in Las Vegas. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too. On June 20th, Roach put out a tweet claiming Davis was yet to sign his end of the deal. Okay, but yeah, August 16th. I think it's safe to say that. It's not official, but I think it's safe to say August 16th. Yeah. Now let's take a quick look at Tank's boxing style before we get out of here. Well, in this one, I got a piece on Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis too, his two trainers. Good piece. Boxing style for Tank. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis fights out of a southpaw stance. He is known for his knockout power and high ring IQ. Tank uses the jab for distance control and pivots for positioning. He uses slips and shoulder rolls to evade punches and feints to set up counters. He uses a long guard to control distance, block his opponent's vision, and hand trap. Tank uses footwork to avoid punches. He is known for attacking the body to lower his opponent's guard to set up headshots. And finally, personal life. Personal life. Okay? Personal life. On August 21st, 2021, Tank was on board a Gulfstream 4 jet that suffered a nose wheel collapse and subsequently skidded off the runway at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. Tank and the 13 others on board sustained no injuries. Okay? On December 24th, 2023, Tank converted to Islam and adopted a Muslim name, Abdul Wahid. He has 3 children. His first daughter was ex-girlfriend Andretta Smothers, and his second daughter and first son from his relationship with Vanessa Paso. And that's it. I ain't talking about no legal issues. Them haters might be listening and they just waiting for some legal issues. Ain't no legal issues. All that's over with. There you have it. The life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis, that monster from Baltimore. Okay? Yeah, we'll have another active boxer on the first Friday of next month. And I believe it's going to be Amanda Serrano. Going to be our next active boxer, first Friday in August. The real deal, Amanda Serrano. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I got this thing on Calvin and Kenny I wanted to touch on. Okay? Let's take a look at that. You know, the masters behind Gervonta. I gotta get my tablet. It's over here. Yeah. I told y'all this tablet run down fast. I gotta keep this tablet on the charge until I get ready for it. It go from 100 to 0, just like that. Okay. Just found this nice article about Calvin and Kenny that I think y'all might enjoy. I enjoyed it. You know? Great minds think alike. Okay, so yeah, it's entitled Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis, the masters behind Gervonta Tank Davis. This is the incredible story of the 2 longtime trainers of undefeated 5-time world champion and boxing superstar, Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay? Okay. Now, they are of the rare breed. They are pugilistic shaman, punch whisperers, a leathery, old-school pair of boxing Jedi masters. They won with choice through herds of yak across barren, icy tundra in search of their vast sagacity. After uncovering their secret, isolated location, maybe a Tibetan monastery tucked on the side of some Himalayan mountainside, there you would finally find Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis emerge from underneath a thatched roof and shadowy stone pillars, wearing sepia monk's robes. Okay? Okay, Ford and Ellis come from opposite backgrounds. One is from a stable, 2-parent household where he was raised to know right from wrong. The other was raised on the hardcore, crush-crack, vile streets of Baltimore, Maryland, and did a 10-year stretch in prison on drug racketeering and conspiracy charges. One learned boxing in the gyms, the other learned in federal penitentiary. One was held up at gunpoint twice, the other was the inspiration for the character of Dennis Cuddy Wise on the HBO hit series, The Wire. The Wire. Yep. Together, trainers Ellis and Ford have merged to create one of the best boxers and arguably the best in the world. In 5-time 3-division world champion southpaw, Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay, 30-0, one draw, 28 knockouts. That's 90.3% knockout ratio. Okay. Now, in some ignorant circles, and there are many in boxing, Ford and Ellis go underappreciated. Okay. They're the same men that got pregnant when Tank put the rehydration clause on Ryan. Grown ass men. Rehydration clause. They wanted this man to go up to fight this little 5'5" guy weighing at super middleweight weight, right? I mean, the man want to fight at super middleweight, move to super middleweight. That's why they put the rehydration clause. Rehydration clause is to prevent weight bullying. I think all sanctioning bodies should have them automatically. I mean, you fighting for the title at 140. Why are you weighing 165? You should be fighting for the title at middleweight or super middleweight. Come on, man. The sport is already dangerous enough without that kind of nonsense. That's cheating, man. But let's go on. Yeah, like I said, in some ignorant circles, and there are many in boxing, Ford and Ellis go underappreciated. Okay? But to those that know, they have an avid following of trust in Baltimore, from world champions to possible future world champions, to kids putting on a pair of boxing gloves for the first time. Ellis and Ford are always in lockstep. If one of their fledglings has an angry fit in the Upton Boxing Center on West Baltimore's Pennsylvania Avenue, they can't run from one trainer to the other looking for sympathy, because they are not going to get any. Okay? Calvin and Kenny are in lockstep. It's the way they both are, and the way they were both raised. Yet, they share a simple philosophy that enables them to strive. Their philosophy is, it's always about the kids. Okay? It is rare any of their fighters leave them. And if they do, it does not take long for them to return. Okay? They find out the grass is greener right where you was at with Calvin and Kenny. Many of their fighters, it is rare that any fighter leaves them, and if they do, it does not take long for them to return. Don't take long for them to come back. Perhaps it explains why they can do what no one else in boxing can currently do. Keep their homegrown talent, develop them, and nurture them while training them. Okay? When I was young, I had no sense of direction, admitted Ford, who got Davis when he first walked into the gym at 7 years old. I had mentors around me, but I was still young and made mistakes. It's why I don't get on Tank about his mistakes. You learn what you got in trouble for, and you move forward. I was introduced to boxing by a friend named Warren Boardley, who was in the Olympic trials, and Reggie Gross, who fought Mike Tyson. I've always been around boxing. Reggie really got me involved with boxing. They didn't make it, and when they came back home, they became two drug kingpins. Reggie was me. Reggie was the one who urged me to box when I got out of prison. Now, Ford went to the federal prison in 1988 when he was 21. He got out in 1998 when he was 31. He wanted to box and realized he was too old to fight, though not too old to forward knowledge to the younger generation. He plunged his efforts into working with kids. Ford goes through the same routine with every kid that enters Upton Boxing Gym for the first time. What he wants to initially see is if the kid really wants to fight. He will stick them in against someone their own age. If the kid comes back the next day, Ford will work with them. He knows how to read kids. If they did not want to get into the ring the first time, Ford will have the kids shadow him, show him exercises, and how to hit the bags. Now, when Tank first showed up at the gym, Ford put him right in. He was aggressive, and Ford had to channel his energy differently. The first thing Ford establishes with his kids is arriving to the gym every day. He stresses old school values like being on time, listening to him and Ellis, and repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay? Can't get enough of that. Repetition. Now, when Calvin got out of prison, he approached respected Baltimore trainer Marvin McDowell of the UMass boxing program about trying to help him get started. McDowell rebuffed him. Kenny happened to be standing close by. That's the first time I met Kenny, and I'll never forget it, Calvin said. Kenny saw what happened and came over and told me, "The guy isn't trying to help you, so I'll help you." Kenny took his kids and brought them over to my gym, Hurry Run Recreation Center, to work with me and the kids that I had. Okay? They got mad with Kenny for doing that, and it's what started our friendship. Kenny was the first one to see me take 5 kids from Baltimore and go to Washington, D.C. and win the Silver Gloves to go to Nationals. We have been the best of friends ever since. Kenny is my Bible. He got the nickname Bible from me. When he talks to me, he's my reason. In all the years we have known each other, he's been the one right. Kenny knows me, okay? It is beyond 2 guys who are just friends. We are brothers. Kenny and Calvin together manage Upton, which has been a refuge in a blighted section of West Baltimore. Now, regrettably, there's only so much Calvin and Kenny could do. They have basked in the triumphs of Davis and potential future stars like Catino Oliver, Lorenzo Truck Simpson, and Jaleel Hackett. Okay? They've also had pieces of their souls ripped out by the tragic losses of Angelo Ward, a super featherweight who was killed in 2012, and Ronald Rock Gibbs, who had Olympic dreams dashed by being stabbed to death at the age of 17. Even Calvin's own son, Cordell Gurley, was taken, shot and killed in New Jersey in 2013 when he was age 24. It rips you apart because you know you can't save them all, but it doesn't stop Calvin and me. It doesn't stop Calvin and me from thinking we can't save them all, said Kenny, the father of budding fighter Maya Ellis. You have people out here robbing people, and they run across them again, and they get shot. People are killing people for no reason. No reason at all. Today's generation deals with things differently than when they did when I was their age. As a kid, Calvin was bullied so often, he would tuck a tiny Louisville Slugger under his arm, the one you'd get as a giveaway at a Baltimore Orioles game. If he wasn't going to get revenge one time, he would wait it out and repay the bully at another time. Kenny was not much different. When he was 12, he learned quickly that you either go hard or go soft. One Sunday morning, when Kenny was going to get dog food at a local corner store, he was robbed at gunpoint by a grown man for $7. Years later, when Kenny was 19, he happened to run into the same man that had robbed him when he was age 12. He was 12 years old when the guy robbed him for the dog food. Age 19, he runs into the guy again. Kenny said, "We were in line at a grocery store, and I walked up to him, being nice, and said, 'You remember that kid you robbed a few years back?' The man said yes. Kenny said, I told him, give me my money back. I took a little more than he took from me. Call it interest. Kenny said he took a little bit more than the guy robbed him. It was 7 years ago, so Kenny said he got a little bit of interest, right? Now, people were watching, and I did it in front of the cashier. The situation changed. I was not a 12-year-old kid anymore. I wanted my money back. That was back in the 1980s. You can't do that today. Now, when Calvin got out of prison, Kenny began seeing him at local shows. At the time, local boxing shows. At the time, Umar was the hottest boxing gym in Baltimore. Kenny began seeing what Ford was doing with his kids. So he would work with his kids during the day at Umar, and he would bring them to Upton to spar at night with Calvin's kids. That's when I joined Calvin at Upton, and we don't carry any grudges with McDowell because we're about the kids, Kenny said. We started with these kids, and it was a struggle, and still is, because a lot of these kids don't have anything. Kenny is Calvin's sounding board. If he has a question or an idea, he'll bounce it off of Kenny. Upton is producing world champions, though Calvin and Kenny carry a constant concern that their young ones will get swallowed up by the streets. It's why they hold Oliver, Simpson, and Hackett so closely. They are great kids, and they all have a great future, Calvin said. We work and work and work on repetition. I have Tank running drills all the time, and he doesn't know why he's running certain drills, but I do. Oliver is the youngest of the three. He has it. The performance I saw him give me last week was his best. Oliver has everything. Hackett's father sees the work I did with him as an amateur. I love that kid because he'll do anything you ask him to do. Simpson is coming around. He has a great future. I raised the kid from scratch. Calvin has always aspired to be a professional fighter, right? He was supposed to fight Roto Ramiro's trainer Bullet a few years ago, but I think they couldn't get the license or something, couldn't get sanctioned or something, so they didn't have it. I was going to attend that fight. It was going to be right here in Baltimore, yeah, but they didn't have it. Okay. Calvin says, my ultimate goal is to see Tank all the way through his career, and he's on the right track. The best is yet to come. My ex-wife used to say my interest in boxing was a hobby. What kept me straight was the kids. Boxing was the tool and avenue. My relationship with Tank is beyond trainer and fighter. He introduces me to his kids as Papa. Tank kept me straight. How could I tell him to do the right thing if I wasn't doing the right thing? Here was this short kid with a big ass head who saved my life. He was good for me, and I was good for him. Yeah, and they said Calvin used to work at night, and to keep Tank off the streets, he used to take Tank to work with him when Tank was a little kid. Yeah, he used to take him to his job overnight with him. Okay, just to keep him out of trouble. Now, you don't have to trudge through herds of yak or climb a Himalayan mountain to find these Jedi masters. They will not be holed up in an ancient abbey. Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis will not emerge from underneath shadowy stone pillars wearing sepia monk hoodies. They are there every day in West Baltimore, dressed in sweat, dispensing their wisdom in shrill voices to the myriad kids that they are working with, molding the next Gervonta Tank Davis. There you have it. Life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis and his the masters behind him, Calvin Ford, the great Calvin Ford, and the great Kenny Ellis. Yeah, two of the most underrated trainers in boxing. Okay, two of the most underrated trainers in boxing today. Them two gentlemen right there, Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis. Yeah, two great ones. Okay, I'm gonna put the link in. We got like 20 minutes. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. It's Friday. Monday is the some of the most underrated boxers in boxing history. Okay, that's coming up Monday. Okay, let me get the link in here. Drop the link. But yeah, we got oh man, I think is this I was just reading the fights for this week. Oh, that's next Friday. Next Friday is a big one for the women. That's Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 3. And then man, that is a huge card. All women. Alicia Baumgardner on it. We got Savannah Marshall and Shadeja Green fight. That is a huge card. I think Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron, not Jessica, Chantel Cameron, and I forgot the other girl's name. I think they fought before. Another big name in female boxing. I don't know why I can't think of it. But yeah, that's a huge card. That's next weekend. And then that's Friday, right? Then Saturday is the Berlanga and Shiraz and Shakur and Zapata and Bob and what's his name on there too? Matthias on there too. Yeah, that is it. Next weekend is going to be huge in boxing. 2 humongous cards. Yeah. And remember, the link is for everybody. I encourage everybody to hit the link and come up. Don't be scared. I ain't gonna cook you. No, I'm just kidding. I can't cook no damn body. I don't know nothing. You know. I'm learning, man. And hope everybody got a happy 4th of July to everybody too. Be careful out there. They was out there shooting last night, man. That sounds like I thought somebody had a rocket launcher out that bad boy, man. I was getting ready to get down in the floor. I told Miss Cass, get down. God damn. That thing went ba-boom. I'm like, where the police at? Shoot, the police over there in the police station down low. They're like, I ain't going out there. Anybody find out what that was, call us and let us know. Yeah, man. That thing was... You know, all them sounds out there ain't firecrackers. You know? That thing I heard last night, that wasn't no firecracker. That sounded like a cannon, one of the most Civil War cannons. Yeah. I get ready to hit the deck, man. Like I was in Vietnam, Afghanistan, somewhere. Iraq. Yeah. And it's still going on. I'll be glad when it's over. Hate the 4th of July, man. All that stuff out there going off, them ain't firecrackers, I'm telling you. There's a link, though. We got like 20 minutes. I'm going at 4 o'clock today. I don't care how good the conversation is. But how's everybody? It's Friday. Holiday weekend. The 4th of July. American Independence Day, right? Ain't that what it is? Celebrating the independence when they got away from the English. Right? What's up, Define Arnie One in the building?
How you doing, Cass?
Okay. How you doing today, my brother? Everything good?
Yeah, I just came back from the gym. I was off today, so.
Did you spar?
No. I was in the how do you say the regular gym?
Oh, okay.
In the bag.
Do they have the boxing ring and stuff on to that gym you go to?
No. That would be the boxing gym.
That's a different. Okay, you was at the regular one. I got you. Yeah.
That's one of the things with that boxing gym. Like they're not really like serious about it because they close on holidays and stuff. I'm like, bro, like you can't be doing. I mean, I don't know.
That's the day people are gonna come on holidays and stuff. You know.
I mean, you look at gyms over in Mexico or in the U.S. They never close, bro.
Yeah.
Like if you're serious about this, you know whatever.
Not gonna close.
A lot of grifters in this game, bro. A lot of grifters.
They probably closed on weekends. Take weekends off. What, really?
Damn,
I was just joking. They closed on weekends.
No, they close on weekends, and they also have like this office type of schedule.
Wow.
Because they're funded by the government. So on one end, it's convenient because you don't have to pay a dime, only like insurance stuff.
That's true
stuff
too.
like
Yeah.
that. But they work from like 10 to 6. That's it.
Bikers hours.
That's like everyone's working hours, bro. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? But
Supposed to be a gym. Wow. Hmm.
you know,
Are they all like you probably could? Are they? They're not
no, no,
all
no,
like
no,
that down there, are
no,
they?
absolutely
But
not.
that's close, convenient to you, right? That one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I work nearby, and
Right.
the I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting Ivan Calderon. They're absolute
Oh
gentlemen.
yeah. Okay.
He was actually giving me some pointers and stuff, and I'm like, I'm all ears, bro.
This was after his career, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, no, this was like a year ago, maybe less.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Von Calderon. Mm.
Love the man. Um,
Yeah, he was one of the best down there at 105. Yeah.
he,
After Ricardo left, yeah, he took over down there.
he wasn't too long after he got his Hall of Fame induction. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
uh,
He earned it. Yeah. He
oh,
deserved
without
that.
a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Um,
I talked about him yesterday when I was doing strawweight. I think he was number 2. Top 10 strawweights. He was my number 2.
you got Lopez #1.
Lopez number 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I had to do it.
No, I can see that. I can see that. Lopez. When it's all, well, this is just the flag on me talking, obviously. But when it's all said and done, probably Collazo gonna be that #1. But we'll see.
Yeah, Calderon was 2. Yeah, I was just looking at it. I had Calderon 2. Number 2.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna spoil the underrated fighters with me, obviously.
Yeah, that's Monday.
Man, that's gonna be good, man.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? Do you know anything about Harley Milbank,
Who?
the guy that's fighting Jack Catterall?
No, I don't know too much about him to find anyone.
I think he's related, right? He's like either the younger brother or cousin of Chris Eubank Jr., if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
I think so. I heard something about that, but I should watch something on him because I've seen Catterall a few times.
That's the big fight this weekend, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna see that because I think that's on the Zone because I subscribe to the Zone. So that's the Zone, right?
Me too. Yeah, that's on the Zone. That Zone will mostly show the UK fights, but they got a pretty good how do you say, repertoire or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know, I haven't seen the card yet. What's going on?
I was looking at it earlier. I didn't know too many people on it. The big weekend is next weekend. We got the big women's card next Friday. Amanda and Katie Taylor 3, you know. All women. There's some big names on that card, man.
Yeah, Alicia Baumgartner's on that card, and
so it's Savannah Marshall, Sadasia Green.
Yes, and Chantel Cameron too.
Yep.
So that's gonna be fire, bro. Do you know where is that aired?
Jessica McCaskill. Who's she fighting? Is it Chantel? I can't think of. I think they fought before. Let me pull it up.
Taylor.
I was just looking at it. Yeah. It's 2 big names. Sky Nicholson's on there.
I think so too. Yeah, even the prelims are it's all female. So it's gonna be.
Yeah. I think Sky Nicholson is the next big thing in women's boxing after the Gwoat and Amanda and KT and all of them get out of the way. I think Sky Nicholson going to take over. Yeah.
Could be.
That's what I think.
I'm not that well informed, unfortunately, when it comes to female boxing. I have seen a few fights, you know, but not enough for me to be like, okay, I can speak to this topic or no, you know.
You would like her.
Alicia Baumgartner is fighting Jennifer Miranda.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Scott Nicholson got a beautiful jab, man. Beautiful.
Chantel Cameron versus Jessica Camara, and
that's who she's fighting. Okay.
Who else? Ramla.
All women, right? All women.
Yeah. Even the previous. Another fight is 2 fights that I don't know, unfortunately, is Ellie Scotney versus Yamilet Mercado.
Yeah, I know about Scotney, but I don't know about the lady she's fighting.
And Cherneka Johnson versus Shareda Metcalf.
Yeah, Shanika is nice.
That's
Does
like
she
the
have a
main
title?
part.
Does it say Shanika has a? I know she was in a. I thought she was in a title fight. But I'm not sure.
For it says here for Metcalf's IBF women bantamweight
Oh,
title,
okay.
and the vacant WBO and WBC women bant. Oh man, 3 titles on the line. Man,
Mm, yeah.
not bad at all.
No.
Uh,
And then the
actually,
big.
pretty good.
And then the next day is the Berlanga and Shiraz and Shakur and Zapata. So that's a big weekend coming up next week, man.
And
Wow.
July is probably gonna. I mean, a lot remains to be seen, obviously, but July so far it's probably gonna be the best boxing month
Yeah.
because we have Usyk Dubois too. We have Bam Rodriguez also unifying against Fumanetti
Mm.
Tafu. Like we got a bunch of stuff. I mean, I think we got Clarissa towards the end of the month too.
Oh, is she fighting in July? Okay.
She's fighting in the zone. Let's see.
It was the card you was
There she
telling me
is.
about the other
July
day, the next week. Oh,
July
yeah, Manny
26th.
and Barrios is the 19th too, the week after that. Remember?
Exactly. There's another one. I forgot about that one. But Clarissa is on the 26th, so it's of July also for sure.
And you know the rematch between Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu is coming up July 19th too.
That's in the undercard of Barrios and
Manny.
Pacquiao. And
Yeah.
I think Pitbull versus Fierro too also.
Yeah, Pitbull on that one too. Man, we got some stuff coming up. Brandon
I'm telling you,
Figueroa and
man.
Joet Gonzalez. Joet haven't fought for a minute, have you? Joet Gonzalez. I
I
haven't
don't
heard
think
from him
so.
for a while. And Gary Russell Jr. is coming back.
I heard something about him.
Yeah,
who
on that card. Hugo Castaneda.
Okay.
Yeah, Gary coming back on that card. I think his last fight was Mark Maceo, right? When he
I think
lost
so
to
too.
That's been a minute. I thought Gary was going to basically train his brother, Gary Antoine, but no, he's stepping back in there. Yeah.
I think he got some left.
Yeah, because he didn't fight a lot, so he wasn't in a whole lot of fights. So
Exactly.
he got a lot left in the gas tank. I think because of that, he's a young Gary. He in his 30s, right?
Yes.
But he's a young 30 something. You know what I mean?
Remember his fight with Loma, and he's fought a few people, man. He's been in there for sure.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, Loma. Wow.
Yeah.
That was back there. Yeah, ancient history.
That was Loma's fourth or
Yeah.
third fight.
Wow. That was a long time ago. I remember it though, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good, actually.
That was a good fight. And guess what? Maxeo was on that same card. Mark Maxeo.
The Pacquiao card?
Yeah, on the card of Fundora and Tszyu. Same
what
card.
Do you think about Fundora? What do you think about Fundora?
Tszyu? Man, oh man, I don't know. The first time I was picking Tim Tszyu, but man, I might be leaning toward Fundora this time.
I'm going with Tim Tszyu.
You going with Tim?
And the thing is that Fundora, all respect to him, right? But
yeah,
I don't dislike him at all. I know he has vision problems. But the way he fights, I mean, Brian Mendoza already knocked him out, and
I know.
I just man, he fights. I understand. I get it. Your eyesight is messed up, and then you like to fight in the kitchen and this and that. But his body frame and the chin's up in the air, hanging. And he doesn't get his head off the center line.
No, he don't.
Nearly enough.
One thing about him. Yeah.
And I mean,
got a lot to aim at too. Like you said, a big body frame.
Team Tszyu to me was pretty much piecing him up until the cut happened.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it. I had picked Tim in that first one. I thought Tim was going to stop him in that first one.
I was high on Team Tszyu myself. Obviously, Bakram got to him, but we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Because one fight that I'm interested in regards to Team Tszyu is Keith Thurman, bro.
Okay.
They both got through with their, as Thurman said, their appetizers.
Right.
So let's because that was if you remember, that was the fight that was gonna happen, and then
I remember.
Keith Thurman got injured, and then Fundora stepped in, and I'm like, damn,
they how do you prepare? You're right. Yeah, they were scheduled. one
You're
time.
preparing for a guy that's completely different to the one that you got, bro. It's like,
I
damn.
know. That was going to be in Australia too. Remember? They had that one scheduled.
I think so
That was
too.
right
Yeah.
after Jamel, wasn't it? After he, no, not Jamel, but the guy that beat Jamel. What was the guy's name from Detroit?
Gaston. No. Sorry.
He trains Alicia Bumgarner.
Uh,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know who it is, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna.
He was supposed to fight Keith after that, wasn't he? But then Keith got hurt. Yeah. I can't think of him.
I should.
We both know who we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he retired after that Tim Zoo fight. Tim really
Oh, Tony Harrison.
Tony
Harrison, man.
Yeah, Tim did him bad over there, man.
I think there's something wrong with his right hand or something, because if you take a look at that fight, I mean, he was throwing only the jab over and over and over and over again. I'm like, is his right hand like messed up or something, or he's trying to beware of the left? I mean, something like that. But for some reason, he almost never threw his right hand in that fight. But whatever. It was a great performance for Team Sue, and what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's when he got the W.
And Alicia was there. I remember Alicia was there shouting instructions.
Yeah,
but
she was. Yeah, I think it's more than like a trainer, more to it, the relationship than that. But that's another story.
Man, that's it's up to them.
Yeah. But yeah, he was in his corner.
Alicia Baumgartner, I got a feeling that she doesn't have a shortage of men that are trying to be with her. So
yeah, and she's on that card next Friday. Remember?
Exactly. She's the co-main, actually.
Card,
according to what I'm reading here, she's the co-main.
And it's got some big names in women's boxing on that card. Wow.
Jake Paul is doing it, man. Jake Paul.
Yes, he is.
Whatever people want to say about him, I know that fight was a stinker, because it was a stinker. But beyond that, the promoter, Jake Paul, ain't too many bad things he's done, bro.
He put that card together. That's one of the best cards of the summer.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And
Katie and Amanda is 10 or 12 rounds, because Amanda don't like fighting 10 rounds. She like to go 12, 3 minutes.
Yes, she's been calling for that for a minute now.
Yeah. But Katie is adamant about the 10-2 minutes. So
of course, she knows what's up.
Yeah. Yep.
She ain't gonna survive 3 minutes in there over and over and over again. No, she won't.
Not with
and that's no disrespect to her. She's a legend already. They're both legends already. Yeah. So they could retire tomorrow, and they're right up there with whoever.
Amanda can punch though.
Amanda can definitely punch, bro.
Yeah.
And Katie can definitely box. So
yeah, she can. Katie got a good chin on her too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And she knows how to when you're hurt, how to recover, survive, get out of dodge.
Yeah. She does. She does a good job of that.
Because people get on my case. People think I'm disrespecting Katie. People say that she doesn't deserve the third fight. I'm like, guys, the second fight, there's no way you can tell me Katie won, bro. I'm sorry. Whatever.
Neither one of them, if you ask me. First episode.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. Who else? They're gonna make a lot of money,
Oh yeah.
It's a no-brainer to fight again.
Exactly. And we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, a lot of good stuff. This month is lit up, bro. I hope nothing happens. Nobody gets injured. Nobody gets fucking, we don't have to find a late-minute replacement for whoever. Please.
Usyk and Dubois is in July too,
Yeah, the 19th.
All of that.
Same as
mentioned that one.
Same day as Pam Rodriguez.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great month.
Unbelievable, bro. You know who's on the card of Dubois? Usyk, because it's weird. Okay, here it is. Lawrence Okolie versus Kevin Lerena is the co-main event, and Daniel Lapin versus Louis Edmonds. Okay, I don't know, man. There's gonna be one of those top-heavy cards or something like.
Yeah, that's what it's looked like. They got a card from Russia tomorrow too. I don't know anybody on that one. Not even the main event.
from Russia.
A lot of Eastern European fighters on. Yeah, tomorrow. I mean Saturday. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, right?
But on the zone, or yeah, it's
I
Saturday.
don't
But
know. I don't know the it's right here. Let me find it's right here in front of me. Tomorrow is the 5th, right?
I can, yeah, so I
Let
can
me
look it
see
up.
what that's on. I don't know, not one name on it. Let me get it real quick. Yeah, we get ready to get out anyway, but let me see. July the 5th. It's so many on the 19th. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Catterall and Eubank is the main one over the weekend. But yeah, Ekaterinburg, Russia. It don't have a network.
That's probably gonna be on YouTube. I gotta look up like like noon time or something like that, because Russia is like 6, 7, 8 hours away.
Yeah. It's like a million fights on the card too. Wow, it's a bunch of them. It is a bunch of them, man. Wow. Yeah. All Eastern European fighters, though. I can tell by the names,
Man, absolutely.
Like
Gervonta. It's always a V in the end, or a Z.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm gonna watch, because those are the dudes that turn into the Lomas, the Viterbius, the Evils, the
That's right. You'll see a lot of good boxing.
Absolutely, the backgrounds. I mean, you name it, bro.
Yeah.
All righty. So you have a great weekend.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Love the show. Kenny Ellis is the man, bro. He treated me super good when I interviewed him and everything, and he promised me, because I went to him on the press conference and asked him for an interview, and he said, "Look, I'm a little busy. We got to do this and that, but come at me after the fight. Look for me, and then I'll give you the interview." And just like that, I went to him, and he looked at me and said, "Oh yeah, like he remembered." And
yeah, because him and Jay is real tight. Him and Jay Hardcore is real tight. So he would definitely look out for you. Oh, he was down there with Jaleel Hackett, right? For that
yes. Yeah, okay. Jaleel Hackett was actually held the phone for me when I interviewed Jaleel.
Really?
Bernard, his father, absolutely great guy. Also, I love those kids, bro. Those are awesome.
Okay. I'd be glad to have another one down there, so you can do another.
A lot of people know them, bro. Nobody knows who I am, and they were just like super cool, bro, without even knowing me, nothing or anything like that.
They know about the JBT though. They all know about the JBT.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
No, you was JBT affiliated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they know about the JBT. Kenny and Calvin was on my channel one time, a long time ago.
Who?
After the Ryan and Devin fight, we did a thing on there.
With who?
Kenny and Calvin. It was me, Kenny, Calvin, and Jay Hardcore. We did like a post fight.
What a treat, man.
It's way back there somewhere. Yeah.
I want to look that up, brother.
The night of that fight, they were on here.
After the Ryan Garcia?
Ryan and Devin, yeah, that same night.
Will do.
Okay,
I'll look that up. Appreciate you, brother. God bless, and have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Okay?
Have a great weekend. I'll catch you next week.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. Appreciate you. All right. That was the fine Arnie one up on the panel, helping me close out the show again. Close out the week, really. So we're going to do it again. Start Monday with the most underrated, some of the most underrated fighters. I say some because you can never get all of them. Some of the most underrated fighters of all time. Okay? But the Boxing Menu Podcast Plus, Just Do Boxing, Big Dre, Define Irony, Crush the Legend, Donnie Williams, Ace, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody. Everybody have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July and all that. Enjoy the cookouts. And I'm out.